funny, yeah. I just been sitting back, watching, taking in information, not jumping to conclusions. They try to play on our emotions so much, I like to just sit back and wait for the dots to connect. You feel me? It sucks watching people sleep. I understand now why the higher-ups call people sheep. They go where you send them. Of all the things that should offend them, they only focus on what you tell them should upset them. I remember this music exec told me the people are sheep, most of them stupid as heck. Focus on you, get a check. But I refuse to mislead people or view them as less, just to be mocked by the same people I choose to protect. It's like I'm back in the day, going against massa and getting attacked by the slaves, taking my lashes while they laughing away, cause they don't know that I was trying to free them. They played a clip for them, told them I was trying to leave them. I found out they putting poison in what they feed us. They kill us slow from the inside and make us weaker. They said he's trying to steal your food, he wants your children to starve. They showed a picture of me burning all the shit we been eating, cause when the truth make them shook of me, they drum up a case. If they could change how you look at me, you'll laugh while they whooping me in front of your face. The right narrative can bury who they want to erase. Remember Lauryn Hill spoke up? Crazy. Chappelle didn't want to wear a dress when he left, he was crazy. Ye was in the bed with dead celebrities calling himself Jesus, but when he met Jesus, crazy. Trump was they buddy. They all got money. Before he ran for president, these same folks loved him. I wonder what changed though. Is it cause he racist or wouldn't light the White House up like a rainbow? You don't find it funny that the same Grammys and Oscars we call racist claim to hate him because of that? A whole industry that promotes evil consistently, now they hate evil and shame people who disagree. Some of that he bring on himself, and so do Ye though. You can't meet with him, agree with him, or say his name no, but call you a coon, Uncle Tom, and say you ain't black. You wonder why Joe Biden felt comfortable enough to say that? Isn't that the same way you used to manipulate cats, calling you homophobic when you don't agree with they plans? Black folks running the same plays the gays ran, cause black lives didn't matter till we shook they hand. Then it was first gay NFL player black, then it was first gay NBA player black, then they had a wedding at the Grammys presented by him and a black rapper, and guess who officiated that? A black woman. They used our oppression as a tool for protection and sympathy as a weapon, just like you. I see the dots start connecting as these fake Jews call Ye anti-Semitic. History of oppression, you can't disagree with them. Sympathy is a weapon, if you do, you mistreating them. They rip the black billionaire in front of your face to say no matter how rich you get, stay in your place. Nigga, promote sex, drugs, murder on the daily. You can kill babies, you can say a man got pregnant by a lady. The things that you can't say don't make you question why what you can say is gravy. I'ma kill a nigga, I'ma kill a Jew. One of those are wrong, one of those are cool. One of those will get a rich black man canceled, the other one will put a new Grammy on his mantle. But what do I know? I'm just a Christian rapper, black entrepreneur, black father active, black husband rapping like he care about a black life, black philanthropist, water to Africa and a Flint, black man of God with a catalog your children can rap along with in the car with you, and it's hard. And I ain't saying this so y'all support me, I'm just trying to show you what y'all been calling corny. People remember the narrative is imperative. What other reason would Jews flip on Jesus and choose Barabbas? We still choosing the killers over the healers, huh? We still follow whatever leaders they give us, huh? Look at the ones with the most influence. They won't go against the grain. They paid to make the grain look doper to us. I digress, y'all. I just be over here corny, watching all the cool rappers put a dress on. I just want you to take a look at the industry. Hollywood and music, look at the symmetry. Look at what they push, look at what they claim to be about. Look how anybody in disagreement get weeded out. Think about what you and them agree about. Abortion and same sex, and one result they both bring about death. But God is life, so the plan is murder your seed to make sure it don't get planted. Y'all remember God made a promise to Abraham to multiply his seed. Now look at Satan's plan. He got us brainwashed so bad we march for the right to do it to ourselves. Look, ma, no hands. But you don't think the devil real, so you can't see it. So you never understand why they hate Jesus. Just beware of wickedness in high places, claiming they Jews but they the synagogue of Satan. Listen, I was on a plane the other day, and I'm watching this movie called Ocean's 8. And these ladies, they were pulling off this bank heist. And halfway through the movie, I realized I'm rooting for the bank robbers. They're the bad guys, but that's whose side I'm on in this thing. I want them to get away. And I asked myself, how is the Christian going for the bad guy in the movie? And I know you'd be like, oh, but it's just a movie. I've never watched the episode of SVU and was hoping that the pedophile got off. So what's the difference? Why is it when I watch Bad Boys, I'm going for the cops? When I watch Takers, I'm going for the robbers? Then it hit me. The director is able to present this thing in such a way that he can control which side I fall on. So my question to you is, if this director can do this with his finite brain, how much more do you think Satan is able to do if he controls the people who control the narrative? Y'all better get in that word. CNN might say one thing, Fox might say another thing, but the word of God remains the same. Yeah!
Paint pictures, I create literature. I recite the shit I write and turn it into scripture. You ain't cut from my cloth, your clothes don't fit your grown man. Turn soft like big bro's little sister. What's wealth to a million? A city to a village, a boss to a minion. Only talk what I'm living. Been on top so long, but I still ain't hit my ceiling. What's hell to a prison? I've been real from the beginning. I've been known to throw stones, but have caution. I don't look down when I'm walking past coffins. When you pass, you see pale faces, black blouses. The devil's office is Auschwitz with black couches. I'm nauseous and I don't get nervous. You the first one to jump if there's any turbulence. It's a cold world, so throw him in the furnace. Put his teeth where the curve is. We all know what the verdict. Rest in peace where the dirt is.
Sitting in a glass house, watching the storms go by. You should never throw stones inside. We all got bones to hide. Oh, sitting in a glass house, watching the storms go by. You should never throw stones inside. We all got bones to hide. We all got bones to hide.
I'm praying for my enemies who praying on me, waiting for an answer from Jesus, but all I hear is demons screaming while I'm screaming. Dear Lord, tell me what's the reason? Watching the old man get richer while the young bloods are bleeding. Listen, first rule in warfare ain't shit about warfare, so keep your circle smaller squares and knock you off of your square. We all hit the bottom, watch you celebrate when you're there, and watch you hop aboard when you take off. Oh hair. Oh yeah, couple things I need to add. I let your ball rap long enough, so I'ma need that bag. Apologize for my leave of absence, my bad. I got distracted by devils on the internet with evil habits. I miss the past, wonder where the strong men went. I give them facts, I get back straw man. Damn. So he who has no sin song, gonna throw the first stone. Put that on the dash between the dates on my headstone.
In a glass house, watching the storms go by. You should never throw stones inside. We all got bones to hide. Oh, sitting in a glass house, watching the storms go by. You should never throw stones inside. We all got bones to hide. We all got bones to hide.
Don't make it right, I won't judge the judgmental. Are you confident that what you did in confidence is confidential? Difference of our calibers will set the differential. Only fear is my own mental, my temper is temperamental. My past can be erased, it wasn't written with a pencil. My penmanship is written testimonies of redemption. I ask for forgiveness so I know that I'm forgiven. I won't cast the first stone on the next man cause he didn't. How you pay your bills really ain't none of my business. Unless you hurting others, then let God be my witness. My violence ain't malicious, I really have good intentions. I'll die on this battlefield before I ride the fence.
Sitting in a glass house, watching the storms go by. You should never throw stones inside. We all got bones to hide. Oh, sitting in a glass house, watching the storms go by. You should never throw stones inside. We all got bones to hide. We all got bones to hide.
Hop in the truck, 10 of my buddies are already drunk. We don't go nowhere that doesn't have liquor and cigarettes, riding mechanical bulls in the club. We like to hunt, leave with a gun. Come back tomorrow, we covered in blood with a bucket of guts. We all tough for the and we pop in the clutch, we ain't stuck in the mud. I'm the white boy with the baseball bat, bunch of face tattoos and a NASCAR hat in a backyard like scrapyard. Got a glass jar full of tobacco, it's blacker than asphalt. Rolling with hundreds of crackers who acting like animals, they cannot handle their alcohol. We the white boys from the backwoods and the bad hoods in the trailer park trash that pack guns. When I was younger, they taught me to struggle and hustle like 200 bikers, and they were my brothers. We coming for blood and you running for cover, addicted to drugs in the gutter and drunker than anyone. Leaving the club, we go dumber than thugs. We got mullets and putters and multiple gunners that come in Hummers. You under the rubber, you'll never recover. Chain smoking, my lungs hurt, my neck red, got sunburns. Bumping Eminem, we all know the words. Bunch of white boys flipping hella birds. Hillbilly really don't care if you like them. Little bit of moonshine fire inside them. Kill him in a minute, don't care who's fighting. You don't wanna trip on the kids of Vikings. Camo and mullets and cowboy hats out in public. Got ammo stashed in my cousins and cash in addicts and cupboards. They all dissing, we don't listen, can't hear it no more. We gone fishing, they gone missing. I told y'all before.
I be on some white people hanging out the window of a truck, yelling, I don't give a white people. Every time they see me pulling up, they be like, oh my God, he be on some white people.
Jumping out the plane, no parachute, so I'ma get the sooner. I ain't learned from school, always ditch Ferris Bueller. Screw your little truck, my square body over there's cooler. Every white boy riding with me over there, shooters. I'm the white boy with the monster pump. Six shotgun, but I pop the truck. The Norman, I'm so off the jump. I'm up, I rock lots of guns. This ain't soccer, but watch him run. Shoot him in the lung, need oxygen. Huffing blood like he up and does. Talk too much till his coughing shuns. I'm never gonna back up too much ammo. We got hammered, used to battle. Had my fights right on the gravel. Back in the day, we used to handle like men, but now we're canceled. Look at us like states on cancel. Look at them like pull your pants on. Dumbass kids ain't got no answer. Looked up to dudes with tattoos or rap music, bad moves and abuse in my past, acting stupid. I used the bad news for the gas to keep moving. I made it where I'm at, now you rather see me losing. All my guys got tattoos on their face, they did the time, they got jammed. What the hell's a blue check? They ain't got no Instagram. Ask around, everyone knows. They might think that I care, but I don't. I'll be on some
white people hanging out the window of a truck, yelling, I don't give a white people. Every time they see me pulling up, they be like, oh my God, he be on some white people.
Yes, segregated, but I'm still in the mix. I've been with timer before you got cancer for speaking the truth about the world and exposing it for what it actually is. I see race as an issue, I'm running it back to the government to tell them this is a democratic, liberated, conservative, patriarchy dipped in action, affirmative hit song. Bet they still cut me a check. State that I'm in as my mind is way deeper than color. I ain't think I'm blue versus red. I'm in control, consider that I'm carrying more than you know. One in the chamber that's ready to blow. Right at you push through clear and you won't. I'ma keep praying that you get exposed. I promise. I'm not abiding by rule that you set for me. I'm not that mad at the past. I mean, it was only a couple of centuries. Well, actually, I'm pissed, but won't let that be my identity. So on behalf of all blacks, I forgive and don't want to be enemies. Just say you're sorry and talk to me nice. This is comedic. If you get offended, that's a reflection of your own life and how you failed to live it right. So it's not black versus white, it's wrong versus right. Cause color is just a result of these multiple factors that we didn't choose. I mean, mom, dad, race, religion, things we're born into. Generational curses that get undone once we undo moves. See life from a different view, beyond our own skewed, manipulated by the news. Crude, true things they use to confuse the masses. Put us in social classes, separated by percentages, paid for taxes, income brackets, clothes, cars, shoes, size of asses. I bet they try to blackmail me once I black out all these demographics and push past the stereotypical average and get blackballed and they cut all my traffic.
Oh my God, he be on some black people hanging out the window of the trunk, screaming, I don't give a black people. Every time they see me pulling up, they be like, oh my God, he be on some white people.
Because I trust you with all of me. Oh, you best believe I never thought I'd meet a love like this. It's the feeling like first birthday wish, the warmth inside. It's all gonna be alright. So easy to
Yeah. You ever really looked at this thing? And I mean like really, really examined it, you know? The mentality of it, the motives behind it. Bro, we tripping, man. We literally out here laboring for our own destruction. We're actually out here celebrating our own extinction. We lost, man, and he's trying to call us home.
I was so seduced by the noose of the street life. I put my teeth right in that fruit and I took a deep bite. A lonely kid trying to hone his wig for the thuggery. A co-defendant because my codependent's ugly. The affirmations I got from activating was utterly captivating. Thinking I had brotherly love felt lovely, huh? He ain't trying to hover, he don't need no wings, nigga. Indeed I'm blind, but a puppet don't see them strings, nigga. Hold up, they left me for dead, but I heard you died for me. You spoke truth, whatever you said, these niggas lied on me. They can't be right for me, they spitefully use me. You fight for me, they trifling, they like to accuse me. I'm confused, cause if I don't get it right, they abuse me. But if they don't get it right, I'm supposed to die for these fools. If the streets love me like you, it would've been a breeze. But with friends like these, I don't need no enemies.
I used to need you, so any situation I would bleed through, just to make you happy or to please you, to prove to you my love and throw it all away. And I would make time for you, and by that I mean do stay time. Catch a body or I'd let you take mine. Anything you need, I throw it all away.
Yeah, I used to love the hood until I understood its hypocrisy, it's suckerhood. Calling it brotherhood is a mockery, debauchery. Ain't no more talking, there's no democracy. Walk up with a steamer and chop him up over broccoli. Walk with me, the game that we caught in ain't no monopoly. I got a partner who popped a toddler over some property. Our teens dream to be demons, and for a profit we let the chopper ring up your block and call it a shopping spree. I really blooded my bloody, I got my blood involved. I love the cause, was down till I found it wasn't no love involved. The gutters a slutty bra, she ugly but I dug her raw. I was a Satanist till I traded hate for the love of God. Ain't no comparison, frankly it's embarrassing to dare to compare him to the character that we share with men. It's apparent in our parenting, we are arrogant, it's horrible. We'll abort our children before we cherish them. Let's keep it real, look at us now, look at him. He took our sins so he ain't gotta look at us like crooked men. Which one of your niggas was hung up for sinners but yet was humble and sinless just to be our perfect sacrifice? There's none who would give up his son to bring a ton of minutes. It's under forgiveness and secure us in the afterlife. So I pray you quit the game before you crack the dice, and I pray you quit the gang and return back to Christ.
I used to need you, so any situation I would bleed through, just to make you happy or to please you, to prove to you my love and throw it all away. And I would make time for you, and by that I mean do stay time. Catch a body or I'd let you take mine. Anything you need, I throw it all away.
Cause love is patient and love is kind. It doesn't envy and it doesn't boast. It isn't proud. Love does not dishonor others, nor is it self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but it rejoices in the truth. And it always protects. It always trusts. It always hopes. And it always perseveres. Because love never fails.
Warning, the following program is designed for casual wrestling fans and is meant purely for entertainment. If you're SAWFT, proceed at your own risk. Viewer discretion is advised.
Brother, I'm going run a wild Hulk Hogan. If all I get's a moment, I'll make sure it's an explosion. Cause lately I've been seeing stars, trying to kick out on this joy cord. But it's no holds barred, middle fingers like I'm Stone Cold.
What is good, everybody? We are here on the special edition of the Slappin' Me Wrestling podcast. Thank you for y'all who've been waiting through that little timer. You know, just had to give some time for people to get here and for me to collect my thoughts on what in the hell I just watched. Get this camera set up. There we go. For you know, we don't typically do AEW live streams here. We get the opportunity to do that. You also got the opportunity to listen to a little bit of the music that I listen to, and waiting for me to collect my final thoughts, wait for all of these review pages to upload so that I can go over this show exactly how it happened and talk about it. But before we get to Dynamite, we're going to spend some time talking about AEW Dynasty from Sunday night. But before we get there, let's do some business. You know, MVP talked about business tonight. Well, we're going to do some business. The links for the Expedia and WWE shop affiliate links in the description notes. All just go to the description. If you are enjoying the content that you get on this channel, it would be great if you could subscribe, like, and share with your other wrestling friends. That's the number one way we could grow this as a community, is for you all to just take 30 seconds and share the channel, the videos each week, the audio, whichever your friends prefer to listen to each week, and introduce them to us so that we can continue to grow this community. And then finally, if you want some merchandise, slappingmeatwrestling.com is the website you will have to go to get our own merchandise for the show. But y'all didn't come here for me to do business for myself. Any comments you have during the live stream, put them in the chat. We may get to those a little bit later on. But let's go ahead and dissect. You know, I'm not used to doing this live thing, right? Everything that I typically do is pre-recorded. And so being live on air is something that that's new, not necessarily new to me, but new for the show. Not a lot of time to think about. You know, I just had the 17 minutes we had to really think about how I'm going to talk about Dynamite. Dynasty, however, that's a whole different topic. I've had a few days to talk about Dynasty, so let's talk about Dynasty. We're not going to, do a traditional run through the whole show the way most people do, where they spend a lot of time on each match. We'll talk about the things that I feel are important, and we'll do what I do best, and that is break down with honest opinions and actually say the things that need to be said about the program with zero agenda, just a pure, honest critique of the program. Something I feel a lot of wrestling fans have lost is an objective critique of the program. And, the AEW fans don't like critique. It's something that sets them off. It sets off criticizing the program sets off a trigger in their brain where they just start to release the same excuses that everyone else is saying, that Tony Khan is pre-programmed to believe. And so they're not going to like this. However, that's not going to stop me from being objective, talking about what's good, talking about what's bad, and breaking down the show. So we'll start with AEW Dynasty from Sunday, April the 6th, from Philadelphia. We'll start with the pre-show, and we'll say this about the pre-show, and this is not just for AEW, this is also for WWE. Am I the only fan that doesn't give a fuck about pre-shows? I'm tired of them. They're a waste of time. This thing started at 6:30. That's an important time to remember, being that the main event didn't get out of the building till like 1 o'clock. And we'll talk about that at the end of the show. But you're talking about a 6.5 hour show from beginning to end, with the pre-show included. And that's absolutely insane. But again, that's one of the things we'll talk about when we're done talking about Dynasty. Let's talk about the action. You have Nick Wayne and Crew versus AR Fox and Top Flight in a match that I'm going to be honest, I did not watch. So I'm not going to say anything about it. It's, I would say this, it's highly predictable who was going to win this. There's obviously some effort to try to get Nick Wayne over. So there's that. We'll move forward to the only thing that really mattered on the pre-show, which probably should have been on the actual main card, and that is Max Caster's Open Challenge, which was answered by the easily predictable Anthony Bowens. And I will say this. It's about time AEW attempted to make a brand new superstar. I don't know what the appeal is of Max Caster and why they chose to keep him on screen, but Bowens wasn't on screen. But the debut, the re-debut, the return, however you want to talk about this, of Anthony Bowens was pretty damn good. We'll give Tony at this point in the evening, as we're approaching 8 o'clock, probably what at this time it's about 8 o'clock, and Anthony Bowens comes out, gets a big pop. He looks like a superstar, has a whole new little gimmick that I think could work. We'll talk about why I don't think it will here in a minute. Anthony Bowens comes out and just absolutely destroys Max Caster in a squash match. I gave this props last night on the episode with Wavy D. AEW did something that I wish WWE would learn how to do, and that is the art of the good squash match. However, tonight also proved, and we'll talk about tonight in a little bit, they didn't continue on this momentum with Bowens. He'll probably get regulated to a Collision. And that is my fear with why I don't think Anthony Bowens anything will come out of this as much as I want it to, is because Tony Khan's still booking the show. And if there's anything we've learned over the last 5 years, Tony Khan has zero idea how to book big men. And so Anthony Bowens, while I wish you the most success in this run, here's my advice. And I'm sure you've been given this advice by others, and I'm sure you've thought of this yourself. Whatever TV time they do give you, make the most of it so that when your contract's over, WWE will offer you an NXT contract, and you could be fighting for actual championships and not over whatever the hell the story is between you and Max Caster. Moving on to the actual start of the show, before we break down the pre-show matches, can we just talk about the fact that 10 matches for this pay-per-view on the main card is too much? If you look at the actual card, realistically, there's 4 matches I believe you could take off this card that do not belong on a pay-per-view. Now, all of those matches are within the first half of the show. I do believe you could remove Will Ospreay and Kevin Knight. I do believe you could remove Mercedes Moné and Julia Hart. I do believe you could definitely remove Kyle Fletcher versus Mark Briscoe. And I do believe you could have removed Chris Jericho and Bandito, though that one would be the last one I would have considered cutting. Probably could have kept that one on the card, but it could also have been cut. I would have then put Max Caster on the card somewhere, probably in between the triple threat and the main event, to give the crowd some time to wind down from the triple threat. There's an art to booking a show. Max Caster's open challenge would have fit perfectly after the high of that triple threat, to have a low moment to regain your energy for the main event would have been the perfect place to put Max Caster if I was booking the show. So with that out of the way, this card probably only should have been at most a total of 8 matches with 0 pre-show. You could have gotten out of the building by 11 o'clock, and you wouldn't have had fans trapped in Philadelphia, not able to get out of the city because the last train, it closes at around midnight, and you didn't get out of the building till about 1:30. So we'll talk about that again here in a minute. But let's talk about Will Ospreay, who apparently everyone in AEW needs a nickname. Like, this is UFC. So we got the aerial assassin, Will Ospreay, versus the Jet, Kevin Knight, in a match for the Owen Cup tournament, which again should have been a TV match. These tournament matches should have been TV. But you gotta fill 6 hours. So here we go. It wasn't a bad match. It was a decent match. I just, it did what it needed to do. Nothing important here. The only thing that I have to say here with this is, there was 0 reason. I titled this episode AEW Dynasty Emotionless. What was it? Emotionless, meaningless, and something like that. I don't 100% remember what I named it off the top of my head. But this match was 100% meaningless in a long-term program because there was no story. There was no reason for me to care. There was 0 emotion in the match. This was just wrestling. And I know what the sickos are going to say. Well, that's AEW. But even for an AEW pay-per-view, this whole show felt very, very dry. The one thing I would give credit to AEW for doing well is their pay-per-views. This one just felt, and you're going to have the fans, well, it's a C-tier pay-per-view. I don't know. I like even with it, and I'm not the biggest fan of like, well, what about WWE? I don't want to do that a lot in this show. I really don't. I want to remain objective. But even like my expectation for a Backlash or if they do Bad Blood again, is that you give me the best product possible for that show. And I understand not everything could be WrestleMania. But I don't feel the importance of this show and really of the tournament at all in this match. It just didn't matter. This was predictable. We knew Will Ospreay was winning. And so we just move on to the next match, right? And we get another wrestling match. And what we end up getting is 6 hours straight of wrestling with very little reason or emotion put into any of these matches, because the next match on the card is Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, the Hurt Syndicate versus the Learning Tree, again with these damn nicknames, the Redwood Big Bill. You can't just call him Big Bill, he's got to be the Redwood, versus the Bad Apple, Brian Keith, because everyone apparently needs nicknames, in a match that no one actually believed the Learning Tree would win. And for whatever reason, and we'll get to the actual reason here in a minute, and I'll rant on this again. Apparently, MJF finds more reason to be trying to enter the Hurt Syndicate in the tag team division over being in the Owen Cup, where MJF, your biggest star in the company, should be fighting for an opportunity for the biggest belt, especially the belt he says that he wants back. But no. I'm going to take my place on the card by helping the Hurt Syndicate, who didn't need help winning. And again, in a booking decision that meant absolutely nothing at all. At all. Meant absolutely nothing. I'm going to take a stop here before we move to the next match. It's a comment here that James made about Kevin Knight, excuse me. It's not for the long term to get Kevin Knight hype and to look good before he goes to the best of the Super Juniors. All that fine and dandy. None of that's explained on the television show, by the way. And if we're actually being honest, this has nothing to do with the best of the Super Juniors. This has everything to do with trying to leech off as much energy into Kevin Knight, coming off of the press that AEW signed the guy that NXT wanted. And now, look, we're going to put him on TV and say, look at what we got and what Shawn Michaels doesn't. That's what I believe this is more into. Next match, Mercedes Moné versus Julia Hart in another Owen Cup tournament match that meant absolutely nothing. And I just got to say, I was told by the AEW expert here at the Junkyard Media Group, James, that Julia Hart was going to win. There was going to be some interference. And I sat here and when I made my prediction, by the way, outside of the retarded finish at the very end of the show, I went perfect for predicting this. Someone who, up to that point, hardly ever fully watched an episode of AEW. So we want to talk about WWE being predictable. And this isn't a critique to the show, but these the hardcore sicko fans love to complain that WWE is too predictable. And then you just give me the easiest predictable show of the year. Anyway, I told you Mercedes Moné is going to win. And after what happened tonight, again, we'll talk about later, they're really going to make Mercedes Moné win this tournament, aren't they? And I told you guys, there's no way in hell Mercedes Moné is losing a single one of these matches. Let me tell you why. First off, she's never losing the TBS title till she beats Jay Cargill's record at, 404 days. So we got into October or something like that before Mercedes would even be considering dropping the TBS title. And it appears that we're going to get Mercedes at All In versus Toni Storm, unless the plan is to put Athena, who has been a part of the company for 3 years, but has been off TV doing ROH stuff. And so essentially this is the first month that she's been on AEW television. And are we just going to give her a title match immediately because she's Athena, who holds maybe the 5th most prestigious women's title in wrestling, or because she's a Texan? Again, that doesn't make much sense. I think it'll definitely be Mercedes, though. The way it appears. However, if I'm WWE, if I'm AEW, I'm putting Harley Cameron in the finals and I'm having her face Toni Storm at All In, because why the fuck would you not? Harley Cameron's the most over woman in your women's division. But that's just me. But this match, again, nothing too special. The first 3 matches have been the biggest waste of time up to this point. Nothing going on, no emotion involved in this, no reason to care. 2 of the matches have been for a tournament that is easily predictable, right? And so now we get to match number 4, Death Riders versus Rated FTR. Again, super predictable where this was going. You get the Death Riders retaining. You get the turn on Cope. And eventually this will lead where we all think it's going to be Cope and Christian Cage versus Cash and Dax. And yeah, I guess that's a draw to some people. I don't necessarily get excited. It's not the most exciting thing to have on television. I'm sure it'll take place mostly on Collision in front of 100,000 people, because that's where FTR has been sort of regulated to the last month and a half. But again, I digress. Next match. We're 4 matches through this, and I have yet to see anything on the screen that even once piques my interest into this program. At this point, we're probably about an hour and a half in, and it's just settling on me that it's going to be a long night. We then get Toni Storm with Megan Bayne, and I just have to say this. This is not a bad match. Not a bad match at all. I will say, I know that a lot of people, especially the AEW sickos, love Toni Storm. They love her promos. They think she's funny. They think that, you know, we're gonna let the woman talk dirty, and they love it because it's the only time they ever hear a woman talk dirty, because mom won't let them out the basement. But let me tell you something here. Again, this is predictable. We know Toni Storm's going into All In as the champion. This would have been fantastic, however, if Megan Bayne won this match. Megan Bayne is a superstar. I think real highly of Megan Bayne. There was only one spot that really worried me in this match. There was a spot where Toni Storm was trying to what was it, like a German, I think it was supposed to be like a German suplex or something off the top rope, and you could tell that this was not practiced. Again, a performance center would definitely be helped here so that you could practice these type of moves, not on live TV, so you don't almost drop Megan Bayne on her head. Luckily, she did not get dropped on her head. She did get over on time. But still a scary spot in and of itself. And then you get these sicko fans that nearly almost saw the end of Megan Bayne's life if she would not have gone over in time. You know, a split second quicker of her hitting the mat, and she might be paralyzed. And these fans not even recognizing the severity of the situation and what could have just happened. The fans in Philadelphia, I know it's Philadelphia, but the fans in Philadelphia start chanting, "This is wrestling," you know. But Megan Bayne, I'm going to give you the same advice I gave Anthony Bowens. Anytime they give you TV time, make yourself look as good as possible so that either A, Tony Khan is forced to overpay you, or B, you can get that WWE contract and come to where they're actually going to use you in a way that actually matters. Because I have still yet understood the reasoning why you're even here. Just being told by the fans that you're Brock Lesnar, but in woman form, is not good enough. I have zero idea why you're with Penelope Ford. Why, of all people on this roster, would you choose Penelope Ford to come out and be your little valet sidekick when there's a lot of other better women to choose? So can we explain that? That would be very helpful. But again, decent match, predictable. Cool. Toni Storm comes out dressed as Rocky. I mean, I still think Toni Storm is super fucking corny, but that is what that is. We get another Owen Cup match, but this time it's the worst of the 3. You get Kyle Fletcher again with the nicknames. What is it? The Proto Star, Kyle Fletcher versus the Homeless Hillbilly, Mark Briscoe. And if anyone thought Mark Briscoe was ever going to win this match, you're dumb, stupid, or dumb. Kyle Fletcher wins. Again, easily predictable. Now, at about this point, we're about halfway through the show. And again, I'm still so uninspired. It's still so emotionless. At this point, we've got 3.5 hours of straight wrestling. And there was zero reason, if I didn't watch the show solely to do a podcast on it, I would not have watched it. I suffered through 6 hours of wrestling because there were several matches that did, Megan Bain's match I did want to watch. I wanted to see how she performed. I did want to see the main event. I wanted to see if Tony had balls on them, and we'll talk about that in a minute. I did want to see the triple threat. I think those were the 3 matches really that I wanted to sit and watch. It's just a shame that it was surrounded by a bunch of other boring, meaningless, nonsense wrestling that I just honestly didn't care, right? The next match, we have the ROH World Champion. I love Chris Jericho. I do. But this match did not need to be on this card. It did not. I understand there's at least a story here. It wasn't good, but there's at least some kind of story going on in this match, with it being a champion versus mask match. You get the cheating by the good heel work by Jericho. You get the family telling the ref he cheated. I don't quite understand why Aubrey was outside. She wasn't the official for the match. So why is she making decisions for the match? That makes zero sense. Chris Jericho was cheated out of his championship. So I'm going to need a rematch ASAP. I think it was a little bit stupid how they went about restarting the match. It was quite dumb in my opinion. The ref didn't see the bat the first time. You don't get to do replay in wrestling. If there's it's just stupid booking in my opinion. We finally are at a point where the end's almost near, right? And we get Danny Garcia versus Adam Cole, where, as predicted, Adam Cole won the TNT Championship. I ain't got much to say about it. Didn't necessarily care about it. I'm happy for Adam Cole winning. I think Adam Cole's good at his best, and when he's healthy. So hopefully this brings life into this title, because it hasn't seen life for quite a while. Kenny Omega, Ricochet, and Speedball Mike Bailey. This was definitely match of the night, but there was no doubt that was going to happen. It was a spot fest, and that's fine if this was the only spot fest, but it wasn't. So but also you had to wait 4.5 hours to get to this match. Ricochet took the pin like I said he would. Everyone looked great. Omega retains. Okada comes out, and this kind of ruins it for me. We knew this was going to happen, but I'm just not big on Okada. We're going to talk about Okada here as well when we talk about Dynasty. But anyway, we're just going to go on to the main event. And talk about we're going to just sit here and talk about this. We're going to get to the point where, let's just be honest, right? The only thing that mattered in this pay-per-view when they went off air was this match. You sat through 5 hours, if we're counting the pre-show. You sat through 5 hours to get to this match. Right? You sat through 5 hours. And I'm sure there's going to be some sort of justification from the sickos. But you sat through 5 hours. And I'm willing to bet that a majority of the fans watching the card wanted Swerve to win. Right? And there's so many things that I could say about Jon Moxley. I say this all the time. Jon Moxley is literally killing the program. And I get met with responses all the time about how ratings are going up and ticket sales are going up, and it's, none of that is actually truthful. I actually looked up your numbers for ratings and ticket sales from the time Jon Moxley won the title on October 12th till current. None of your numbers are better on a quarter-to-quarter basis. And again, I'm using WrestleTix numbers, and I'm using Fightful keeps up an update on the average. I don't trust Fightful, I don't, but I know the IWC likes Fightful, so I'll use them as a source. For the most part, they're trustworthy. I just think Sean Ross Sapp is a simp, and I think they just hired Ibu, and bro is definitely propaganda, if I've ever seen it. But that's a whole other conversation. So we're talking about this main event, right? And I bring up Jon Moxley's literally killing the company, right? And I'll post the links in the Discord because I don't have them up right now to read the actual numbers. But I did the research this afternoon because this is going to be something that I knew I was going to talk about. Jon Moxley, from a quarter-to-quarter basis, has never had a better they're going down. Average ticket sales since Jon Moxley has had has had the title have gone down by about, if I remember correctly, by about somewhere between like 600 to 1,000 tickets on average per show since Jon Moxley took over. If we do the average of ticket sales, again, they're just you average them by quarter, they're going down. If you do rating, if we're talking about TV ratings, granted, Moxley doesn't get the benefit of the doubt, and then Max started up in his title run. But if you average out a month-to-month rating for each show, the month prior to Jon Moxley getting the title averaged somewhere around 696,000 viewers, and he has not had a month in his title run where he has averaged that amount of viewership on television. Now the response would be, well, that's because of Max. But again, here's the thing, right? Everyone wants to say, well, it's the casual fans, or it's the people who don't trust BJ Bethel's report. It's their job to prove the Max numbers are false. And that's actually not how the court of law works. You made the claim, you have to prove it. And so it's actually on you guys. It's on BJ Bethel, and it's on the sickos to prove to me that you're getting 1 million viewers if you add in the cable and the Max streaming. You have to prove that to me. Now, obviously you won't, because your favorite excuse is Max doesn't release the numbers. And so, I mean, the easiest thing to do is just ask Max to release the numbers, or you have to prove it to me. And if you believe that you guys have 1 million viewers on a week-to-week basis, I have beachfront property in Illinois. Well, now that let's change the state, because Illinois technically has a beach near Lake Michigan. I have beachfront property in Iowa. If you actually believe those numbers, I could sell you some beachfront property in Iowa as well, because there's no way in hell that those numbers are actually real. But let's actually talk about the match itself. I'm going to be completely honest with you. This was a 5.5, almost 6 hour long event. And here's what I remember of the main event. I remember Kenny Omega winning. I remember Okada coming out. I remember the entrances to the main event. I remember falling asleep. And then I remember waking up at 4 a.m. And checking the results and being absolutely fucking flabbergasted that Tony Khan does not have the balls to tell Jon Moxley no and you're going to you're going to continue the storyline that is literally sucking the life out of your programming. You're going to continue this for probably another 3 months by having the Young Bucks, of all people, another group of people who absolutely are ratings and attendance repellents. People run away whenever they're on TV. Oh my God, who books this stuff right here? Who thought that this decision would actually be popular? Who thought it would be right? And we're going to be told something along the lines of, oh, it's a long-term storytelling. Guys, right? And then the excuse is going to be, well, you guys say that AEW doesn't do long-term, but then they do long-term and you guys still complain. You're never going to be happy. No, that's not what we're complaining about. What we're complaining about is that you had one thing to do on this show, that you made your fans at TV, knowing that most of them, some of them had to go to work the next morning. I highly doubt a majority of your AEW fans leave mom's basement to go to work, but you get the idea. You had people who had to go to work the next morning, and you had them stay up till 1 a.m. watching this shit. You had people in the arena miss the last train out of Philadelphia to go home for this shit. And you had one objective, right? All of that would have been fine. I mean, it would have been poor mismanagement of time, but it would be easily forgivable if Swerve Strickland left the damn show as the AEW World Champion. Now, I'm not the biggest Swerve fan, especially after this man goes after Booker T. And that's a whole other situation we'll talk about on Friday. But Swerve Strickland should have left this event as AEW World Champion, but you don't. And that's retarded. Let's just call it what it is. It's stupid. It doesn't make any sense. You bring back the Young Bucks, who have the last time we saw these people, and by we, I mean AEW fans. The last time AEW fans saw the Young Bucks was in October, when they were getting into an SUV, shredding up documents, which apparently now Kenny Omega exposed what the documents are. So this whole theory that they've been working with John Moxley and the Death Riders the whole time kind of got exposed tonight, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. But you end the show, and again, Tony Khan clearly doesn't understand that the last thing you show on your television show, or your pay-per-view is going to be the thing that is talked about the most, because for the second pay-per-view in a row, you put on a shitty ending. Like, who approved this? Who actually thought that bringing the Young Bucks back to attack Swerve Strickland, right? And that's not even the shitty part, because their explanation for it tonight was just as bad. But who actually thought this would be a good idea? This is why production meetings would be highly, highly needed. This is why creative control is bad. This is why Tony shouldn't even be anywhere near running a wrestling company, much less a McDonald's. The only thing Tony should be doing is bagging fries and saying, "May I take your order?" But I don't even know if he can manage to do that without going to the break room and doing some lines. Bro was snowed out of his mind at the press conference. Maybe he was just tired because it was 2 a.m. But who knows? But yeah, what an event. This will be I'll be honest, I've watched several AEW pay-per-views, and there have been a lot of them that I have found mildly entertaining. There's been a few of them that I thought were really good. This has been the worst AEW show I've ever watched in my life. This was the worst pay-per-view from AEW I think they've ever put on. And it's absolutely astounding, given the type of talent they have on their card, that this is the best you have for your pay-per-view. And the issue is, well, there's a lot of issues, right? But let's move on from Dynasty. We'll check the chat here, see if I missed anything. We'll move forward with Dynamite tonight, so that I can get y'all out of here at a decent time. But also so that I can go watch my man JD, who just went live, see what he has to think about Dynamite. Dynamite, live from Baltimore, with a whole 3,000 people in the building. At least this will add to the or to the monthly average of attendance, which is hovering around 2,000, 2,500 people. This will add a little bit to that average, because Jon Moxley's big business, man. He's such big business that in a city like Baltimore, we can get 3,000 people in the arena. And we start with Jon Moxley cutting a promo about no one is there to step up. Anyway, this leads to Jon Moxley coming to the ring. And he's in a match tonight to start the show. And I'm sure you're thinking, oh, the world champion's in a match. I'm sure there's going to be such a big name, someone in the title picture. No. We're just going to have him fight Katsuyori Shibata. Because I forgot. Let's back up. For some reason, well, not really some reason. We know exactly why on Sunday, why this happened. The Ops got involved and attacked the Death Riders, obviously signaling that they're going to be the ones that defeat them for the Trios title. Hangman Page comes out and hits the ref during that match on Sunday. And that's important because we're going to get to a promo he does tonight that completely makes zero sense, like the whole rest of the card. But anyway, Jon Moxley comes out and he fights Shibata, who I don't know what Shibata has done that has earned him an opportunity to fight the AEW World Champion, even if it was a non-title match. But this match goes exactly the way you think, and Jon Moxley wins. The Jacksons music hits. And come and they explain their actions, which is how I would have just started the whole show. But I'm glad they at least put it on at the beginning. And they said that they came out and they did what they did. And they did it for their friend Hangman Page as a peace offering to join the group. I can't even create this bad of booking ideas in my mind. You mean to tell me that you made a decision to extend the death of your company through Jon Moxley and the Death Riders, the worst storyline in the world of wrestling right now? You chose to extend that, and you got involved in this for Hangman? Now, if this goes the way I think it's going to go, Hangman Page is going to have a wild card, and it's going to be everybody's favorite Jungle Boy, Bitch Perry. And I call him Jungle Bitch because apparently the word bitch is AEW's favorite word now. It gets used every week. So Jungle Bitch is probably going to be the wild card. And Hangman's going to be betrayed again by the new elite. Omega comes out, mocks the group, tells them, we saw you. We remember the last time we saw you. You guys were shedding receipts of all of the things that you were buying on company money, your cuck chairs, your OnlyFans. He says, you know what? I'm not gonna continue talking. I come to fight. He gets in the ring. Okada comes out in a suit about 3 sizes too small. And I want to say something about Okada real quick. You know, at the time he signed with AEW, there was arguments, or was he going to go there? Was he going to go to WWE? And all the AEW fans said he can't go to WWE because they're just going to job him out like they do with Kira Tozawa. And yet here we are. How long has he been in the company? And he's Akira Tozawa. That's all he is. But anyways, I'm sure this is all to set up one of those stupid tag team 8-man anarchy matches that they do. Blood and Guts is probably coming around the corner. And we'll probably get something to do with that at some point. Anyway, Swerve comes out with a chair and the Bucks and everything just leave. Bucks and Okada leave. Omega daps up Swerve, gives him a little fist bump. Swerve cuts a promo. And that promo gets interrupted. He says it's buck hunting season. Gets attacked by Pac. Pac gets what looks like hurt in the match. Hopefully it's just storyline. But Swerve gets the win. It does look like it's a pretty bad injury from what everyone is saying. I forgot Omega in his promo basically called the programming while he was gone with diverticulitis Dookie. And I can actually agree with Kenny Omega. But the Dookie's still there because the show, well, it's still Dookie. So we get Swerve and Pac, and again, an injury situation. So it is what it is. Swerve walks off and he gives a warning to the Young Bucks. And he says something about, I'm not hard to find, but you are hard to find. I don't know what the fuck he was trying to get the point across. It was the weakest warning I've ever seen in my life. But it is what it is because, it's what you expect from no production meetings. You could at least practice your promos before you go and say them. Anyway, we go backstage, and Hangman goes past Renee into Swerve's locker room, where he finds Prince Nana, who he warned that for Swerve to stay out of his Owen Hart Foundation tournament match. Nana tries to apologize, but the metrosexual cowboy refuses, and we move on to the next match. We have an 8-man tag, Tony Khan's favorite match type. If this was WWE 2K, he would have, in the settings of My Universe mode, an 8-man tag set up to happen 400 times a show. It's a bit excessive, but he would have it all the way at the max amount of appearances because he sure does love 8-man tags. Can't really say much because Triple H loves them as well. And here's the cool thing. We get a tag match solely for no reason at all other than the winner gets to split 400,000 imaginary AEW dollars because Tony Khan's a mark and thinks it's the 80s, and this is Memphis territory wrestling, where they used to announce a winner's purse for every match. But this is not the 80s. This isn't Memphis. You're in Baltimore, Tony. And you just paired together random tag teams for the fuck of it, including Kevin Knight and Will Ospreay, who just fought on Sunday in a match. Now, I get it. It was a tournament match, and they're both the good guys. This makes zero sense. Like, if I'm Kevin Knight, I'm not tagging with the dude who just beat me and took my opportunity for the title for $100,000. Before this match, before they go to commercial, before the match, we have this corny-ass promo led by the corniest of all corny, Ricochet, where his team of him and Mordos and crew talk about what they would do with their money, and then they go and they do another corny ass promo with the good guys talking about what they would do with their money, led by Yabba Dabba Dabba Doo himself, Mark Briscoe. You have Will Ospreay and his autism talking about going to Disney World. Mike Bailey obviously was never trained how to give a promo because he's awkward as fuck on the mic. Talks about he's going to buy himself some shoes with $100,000. Must be getting him some Yeezys. You have Kevin Knight. I'll be honest with you. I don't even know what the fuck he said he was going to get. I don't remember. Mark Briscoe talks about a portfolio. Now would be the worst time to build a portfolio, Mark Briscoe. I know you have that Maryland education that you have, but I don't know if you've noticed the stock market crash. Now would not be the greatest time to put $100,000 into the stock market when everything is down and building a portfolio that way. But whatever you got to say to make this make somewhat sense, it doesn't. But then I don't know what he said to end the promo, because he gets real close to the mic, and all I heard was yabba dabba 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 dabba. And we go to this match, and you get a spot fest like you thought it was going to be, and the winners get 400,000 imaginary dollars, and none of it matters. Nothing gets built out of it. No story gets built. You just have a really good wrestling match, and apparently that's all you need. Tony Schiavone calls Ospreay the leader AEW needs, possibly foreshadowing his road to All In. Anyway, we get MJF in the Hurt Syndicate. In a decent segment. Here's what I say. I call MJF washed all the time. And it's not necessarily that his talent is washed. Is that they are just giving him some of the worst booking I've ever seen in my life. Again, someone please explain to me why MJF, if he really wants that title, he actually came out today and said, "Oh, that man Tony Khan, what a mark he is. He wanted me to wrestle all the time and do my job. And if I wanted the title, I would have to win a tournament." He thinks he's in the syndicate, but clearly he's not. Bobby Lashley tells him to shut his mouth. They hold a vote. Shelton Benjamin is thumbs down. Therefore, MJF is not in the syndicate. I don't know where this is going. I don't know why MJF isn't trying to get the title back. But I guess we can have MJF fight Bobby Lashley in Texas because that's the best we could do for him. MJF, buddy, you regretting re-signing that contract? I know I would be. But anyway, we get a recap of FTR and Cope, saying that Cope is out indefinitely. And then this man, Tony Schiavone, cuts a scolding promo on Cash and Dax. For whatever reason, like, why is the commentator cutting a promo? That makes no sense to me. I guess they're trying to copy Michael Cole, and it wasn't really cool when Michael Cole did it. But I guess it's okay if you want to be the Timu Michael Cole. It's fine. Penelope Ford has a promo where she warns the women's division about Megan Bayne starting on Collision. You better bow down, and it's going to start on Collision in front of 200,000 people watching on television and a crowd of maybe 100 people, maybe 1,000. Who knows how many they could sneak in that building. But yeah, man, Megan Bayne is going to be such a great leader, such a great opponent, such a threat that she's going to wrestle on Collision. Sure, whatever. We move forward. We got Chris Statlander and Thunder Rosa. You know, I picked Thunder Rosa to win the tournament. Apparently, Tony Khan said, nah, not today, because Chris Statlander beats her. And the initial thought that I had was they're going to have fucking Mercedes Moné win this whole tournament, aren't they? And here's why I know this. She's not losing in Boston next week. That's her town. There's no way in hell that ego will let herself lose in Boston. So she's going to the finals. And unless the finals, your options are Statlander, Billy Starks, or Jamie Hayter, depending on who wins on Collision. I think it's when they're fighting. No, Athena's match is on Collision, so probably, who knows? Who the fuck cares? But the finals is probably going to be Stats versus Mercedes Moné. Is Chris Statlander going to be the opponent? Probably. Maybe Chris Statlander wins. If so, I'm happy for her. But just how you had it easy to put the Cowboy in the title match against Swerve with Hangman versus, in the main event of All In, where the Cowboy wins, you could have put the hometown girl, Thunder Rosa. Look, Miss Rosa, I don't know what you got to do. I don't know what you got to say. I don't know what you got to, post on social media to get yourself out of Guantanamo Bay, like your amigos Penta and Ray Phoenix. But Tony, can you just release Thunder Rosa if you're not going to use something out of her? Because she's way too good to be doing absolutely nothing right now. So we would happily accept her in the WWE rankings of the women's division. But I mean, this was a good match by Stats and Thunder Rosa. I like both of them. These are my two favorite women on the roster. We'll put Megan Bayne at third. If Megan Bayne would just learn to talk and maybe explain why Penelope Ford is with you, and I can understand why you're here, I would like you more. At this point, all I know about Megan Bayne is she's fine as hell. But cool, we got Stats winning. We got fucking annoying ass, cringy ass Tony Storm on commentary. I kind of just muted the television at this point because I don't like hearing her speak. Don Callis promised a victory in the Owen. Asked for some credit card, bank account numbers. And he's recruiting new members, apparently. Adam Cole does a promo about being the TNT champion. And more glory was coming to Undisputed Kingdom. We get a Chris Jericho segment that no one actually gave a fuck about. So we'll just go ahead and skip past that. Claudio and Wheeler fight Samoa Joe and Hook in a match. Again, I don't think the result mattered. Bro, what a main event this was. What a main event. To leave the crowd bored out of their mind again. You start the show with the Death Riders. You end with they're double down on the Death Riders, guys. Such good shit. That your programming ratings and your attendance has gone down since Q4 2024. But sure, the business is growing. Anyway, after the match, Joe asked for a match for the trios titles, and I'm sure they'll get it. Anyway, we go off the air at 10:10 because we don't know what an overhang is. I guess we don't know what time restraints are, and I'm sure the fans that tuned in to Modern Family that wanted to see Modern Family got really disappointed when it was AEW. But outside of that, that's AEW Dynasty and AEW Dynamite. From a casual point of view, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to continue to watch AEW because there are sections of this show that I find kind of entertaining. There are sections of it that I find absolutely stupid. And I just want to remove anyone in the sickos who say, oh, you can't talk about it if you don't watch it. I'm going to continue to watch it. Mostly so that I can understand what JD's talking about when I listen to him go off on it, because he does a lot better job at this live streaming thing than me. And that's where I'm about to go spend the rest of my night. So thank you all for those who have been here. Thank you for hanging out. And until next time. Next time will be tomorrow in a pre-recorded episode. We're going to break down NXT. We're going to break down Evolve. I got to watch them first, so it's going to be a little bit later in the night. But that'll be posted tomorrow, Friday, my rant video, and then Sunday we'll break down SmackDown. We're going to get a busy week this week because there's not going to be a lot of programming on Mania week. We're only going to do the Tuesday show next week, and I'm going to take Mania week basically off. But with that, thank you all for hanging out. Until next time, we'll see you here on the Slappin' Me Wrestling Podcast.
So hit that subscribe, come along for the ride. AEW, WWE, we're always on side. From fantasy booking to baddies that slay. Slappin' Me Wrestling every Tuesday.